What is going on, everybody? I'm your host, PS Fanboy here, and where are we? We are starting up a new game. This is not a new Let's Play by any means. This is meant to be an instructional video for how you can survive random gen on multiplayer maps. Now, if you're like me and if you play console and you like to go and join multiplayer a lot, then you learn a few things over time, but one of the key things I've learned about random gen is that it's very unpredictable. You can't always find a structure, and sometimes you will not be lucky enough to do so. So, in this video, I'm going to give you some basic instructions about how to build a pretty good shelter made almost entirely of wood that you can build relatively quickly, usually within a few days. Now, I am playing on cheat mode just for the sake of this video, but you will not have that luxury. So what you're going to want to do is if you start off in the plains biome, you want to get out of it immediately. It is one of the worst biomes in the game. It's incredibly hot, there's cactuses everywhere, there's a lack of wood and resource rocks. You do not want to be in this biome. Now, some would argue that because there's cacti, you can get some nice fruit. I disagree. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm going to come back when I'm not in this biome anymore. Alright, and now that I'm out of the awful plains biome, I'm into one of the best biomes for early game. Yes, I spawned myself a crossbow just to make myself a little easier so I don't have to fight zombies. But for you guys, you want to go ahead and make yourself a bow and arrow, and it's pretty easy to get feathers in this biome. That's why I like the burnt forest. It also has access to a lot of coal. Why is coal important? A, it's good fuel for making campfires, and it's good for making torches. But what you want to do first of all is make yourself some plant fiber clothing, as I will demonstrate for you now. As plant fiber clothing is going to be your main ticket. Now, if it's raining, you're going to want to make the hood, but if you're in a hotter biome, I recommend making the plant fiber hat in order to cool you off. If you are lucky enough to spawn in any forest biome that isn't the burnt or snowy forest, then you have a chance of getting cotton. I recommend making yourself a full set of cotton armor if you can and if your body can handle it, as well as a bandana and a plant fiber hat. This outfit is usually pretty tolerable depending on where you're at, and is often very useful. Once you have your plant fiber clothing, you're going to want to go ahead and gather a lot of wood. Obviously by making stone axes. You're just going to make a ton of stone axes. Now, to make the whole base, you're going to need several thousand wood, but for right now, go ahead and work yourself and get, I'd say, maybe about 1,000, 2,000-ish wood, which you should have no problem doing. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to cheat and just make all the items just for the point of the tutorial. Though, understand, I don't normally do this. So let's go ahead. We're going to type in wood, because frankly, the cheat menu is ungodly hard to use. So we're going to go ahead. Let's see. Reinforce wood. God, it's so hard. You don't want to make a ton of wood spikes, by the way. So I'm going to grab myself a ton of spikes. This is for the point of defending it. I'm going to go ahead and pause. I'm going to come back when I have all the items I need. Alright, so once you've gotten everything you need, I'm going to show you what you need right now. You're going to need a lot of wood frames. Right? A lot. In fact, I should grab more wood frames than I already have. I'd say you're going to need somewhere around 1,000 wood frames to build the entire structure. But if you just want to build the basic version that you can build in a single night, then don't worry about it too much. So we're just going to grab a few extra just for my convenience. Now it's important that you also have a few cobblestone frames. Now I didn't previously like this because cobblestone frames were invisible until you filled them in. But nowadays, because they actually have some purpose, they are useful for the first floor. You see what I mean? Once you found a relatively flat ground, go ahead and place yourself a little tiny L of the wooden iodes. I prefer wooden iodes to wood frames here because it looks like the whole building is standing on a pillar at that point. Then you want to do it over 3 or 4 and just make you can either keep a 3-block space or a 4-block space. It doesn't really matter. Personally, I like the 3-block space in between the next L. Just like that. 1, 2, 3, and then boink, boink. Make yourself your little L. 1, 2, 3, and then boink, and then boink and boink. Next, you want to go ahead and make your tower as high as you want. Personally, I prefer mine to be about 6 or 7 blocks off the ground, but you can have yours however as tall as you want. So I'm going to go ahead and make mine 6 high. Oops. Keep in mind, the higher you make it means more wood you'll need. But if you're pretty good at building, then knock yourself out. eye on what we have here. Oh, I should get myself a stone axe just for the point of upgrading here. My crossbow away. Basic survival quest. Alright. Just like that. I'm also going to go ahead and grab some wood ramps from the creative menu. Just like this. Okay, just a good stack of those, because I'm going to need those as well. Now keep in mind, the one downside of this base is that it's very easy to grief. And that is a very common problem I see with the base. However, I don't recommend building this in the middle of the fucking road like I'm doing. I recommend building it somewhere obscure where people most likely won't find you. Such as in the middle of an ocean, for example. This is the best place to build it, as no one's ever going to come and find you there. Next up, you're going to want to take wood frames and put them all around this whole base. Make a gigantic thing around. The purpose of this base is to have your main base completely elevated off the ground, and to have it so this way, any zombies who try to get you won't be able to. The pillars are spaced just enough to the point where zombies shouldn't fuck with them, and I've never had zombies fuck with them. Because they don't seem to think that you're up there on the pillars, just the zombies' AI is kind of stupid. So just go ahead and fill it in. Oh, my bad. I made a grade A mistake. This is where the cobblestone frames should come in. Because this here is the wall, which you will want to fill in. But you want to be able to shoot through the floor with your bow and arrow or whatever you have. As such, I recommend putting cobblestone frames in the middle and just leaving them like that. You can walk on cobblestone frames without falling through them, and they look really easy to shoot through. You can just aim straight down and boom, shoot whatever the hell is down there. This is how I recommend your first floor of the building to be. Cobblestone frames are really easy to make. All they take for you to make them are wood and grass fiber. And honestly, if you have a problem finding either of those items, then you need some help. Now. Oh yeah, my leg's sprained. What is that? I'm gonna go ahead and cheat here. Just to give myself a quick splint. Honestly, you probably will sprain your leg here at some point. Don't worry about it. If you've spawned in a better biome than I have, then you probably have some cotton already and can easily remedy this. Now I recommend putting support beams underneath the entire structure. Try to get as high as you can. This way you have a little bit of extra support to your base. Just to make sure that it doesn't come collapsing when you start upgrading walls and such. Which is a common thing that I saw happen before I did the support beams. Next up, you're going to want to go ahead and make the entranceway. Now, I do not prefer ladders. Reason being is because ladders cannot be trustworthy. I do not trust ladders, and I don't think anyone else should either. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. Alright. I'm also going to go ahead and put a little bit of a balcony out on my base. Just a one block simple balcony. Whoops. Ah, tiddly poop. Come on, I know I can make it. Hoo-yah! Come on. There we go. Forgive me, that was a little stupid on my part. Little stupid on my part. Okay. That. put your wood frame ramps. Whoops. I made a boo-boo. But, oh well, it's whatever. See? Trust yourself enough. You can now jump to your base and out to this. You can, however, extend it an additional block, which I'm going to do because I don't trust myself to jump that far. This way, no zombies will be able to enter your base, but you'll still be able to enter and exit it pretty easily. And this platform is now entirely safe, a very simple base that you can make in a day. I'm going to now pause the video and come back once I fully upgraded things and started putting the walls in. I'll be back in just a moment. And as you can see, with the walls up, the base is now completely functional. To get inside, you simply run up the ramp, you jump, this way zombies can't get in, your door, and inside you are free to do whatever you wish and to shoot through the floor. This base design is incredibly easy, takes virtually no time to make, and is made entirely of wood except for the cobblestone frames, which are made of grass fiber. Now, some could argue that the torches are a little harder to make. I can see your point there, but you do start off with one, so that's nice, and that iron isn't so easy to get, but you can get it from resource rocks, so don't give me that argument. You can come up to the roof too, and you can even build a secondary floor up here, or keep going up, making more and more floors. This base is incredibly simple, but at the same time, it is highly susceptible to reefers. So, to combat this, make your game a private game if you really want to play a multiplayer, and just invite some of your good friends to play. However, if you build in the middle of nowhere, where people are just going to run across your base by chance, you do reduce your risk of encountering griefers by a substantial amount. I'm going to finish the design of what I prefer the base to look like, and I'll give you a final shot and wrap up this video here. Welcome back everybody, and as you can see, I've finished the base, so let's go ahead. Down here, it's imperative that you reinforce it with spikes. You know, as many as you want, but I prefer a woodward spiked border with wood spikes in the middle. Just to be safe, I upgrade all of my pillars as much as I can, and that's usually about as much as I get them when I'm playing random gen. Up on the second floor, we have our main living quarters, which includes our bed, our boxes, forge, which you should honestly have by day 4, and we also added a little balcony so we can see out in every direction. Pretty easy to make and made entirely of wood, not at all difficult to make. The furniture, such as the chairs and tables, only takes wood and nails, which is very easy. As going back inside, you can now also head up to the roof, which I failed to lock for whatever reason. And you also have a little fenced-in area where you can see off in every direction, and it's a nice finishing touch. The roof is made entirely of wood shingles, and honestly, it's a pretty solid base. This type of base is very easy to make, and anyone should have no problem making this whole base by day 7. As it's made mostly entirely of wood, yes, there are some iron upgrades here, but keep in mind these iron upgrades aren't at all hard to get, and you can get them pretty easily by making a mine of your own, or mining resource rods, which each resource rod will give you about roughly 50-ish iron. And you can add as many spikes around the base as you want. The base is really good, well fortified, and while it is easy to grief, against zombies, it's really fortified, as you can just stand it here on the lower floor and shoot through it at any zombies that might come through, making it a very functional base design. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned this Thursday, where I'll be bringing you a Navezgane survival tutorial about the best strategy to survive early on in Navezgane. I am PS Fanboy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye, guys.